Welcome to the Roasted Snow Horror Show,
where fear and dread go head to head.
Welcome to the show, where the screams collide, where blood runs cold, and the shadows hide. Each week a fight, two films will clash. Last week's champ, will it burn to ash? The Roasted Snow Horror Show, where fear and gore will always flow. One film wins, one must go. The Roasted Snow Horror Show. Lights go down, the fight begins. Which nightmare takes the final win? You pick your side, we'll break it down. The Roasted Snow, the goriest showdown.
and here are your hosts.
Chris and Ryan!
What is up, guys? Welcome to the first ever live stream of a reaction to a movie of the Roasted Snow Horror Show. I am your host, Ryan Rosted. Everybody thinks my last name is Roasted. That guy over there is the sexual Tyrannosaurus, the Viagra pill with a face, the ever-loving scream fucker, I don't know, Chris Snow. How you doing, man?
Dude, I have so much to talk about right now.
I
We
know.
made a vow after the movie was over to not say a word, and we didn't. And I've been listening to Ice Nine Kills for the last 45 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm so ready.
So no joke. So we never see movies together since we started this podcast. This is literally the first time that we've done this. And I shit you not, Chris looks right at me as the title card or the end credit comes up. He goes, "Don't say a fucking word." So
Don't say anything.
So yeah, guys, if you're new here, first of all, welcome. Click that QR code in the top corner, and that will take you to our library of previous episodes. We are a relatively new podcast. We started on Halloween, and we've been going about 2 episodes a week since. We usually cover the new releases on Fridays, usually about a week after their release. So this is new on multiple platforms. So we will release this episode on our normal Friday. Maybe we'll do it a little later on Friday than earlier in the morning. But man, first of all, I got to give a shout out here to our AMC for giving us that bad boy on the way out.
It's so dope. They look great.
And can I just say, Chris, maybe you didn't feel this way, but I felt this way. There was so much energy in the theater tonight.
Did you notice before the film started, as everyone was getting ready, if you looked over, there was a group of people coming in. You could just get a sense, like, okay, these people are here. The energy is going to be fun. Everyone was polite. The laughter was there. The ughs, the ergs. But I 100% agree. The energy inside was exactly what you want it to be at an awesome premiere.
And it's been so long since I've been in a theater that had that type of thing. I mean, we went to, so shout out if you were at the Chinese theater 6:00 showing tonight on Arapahoe in Colorado. But yeah, just from the moment that they're doing we did the fan whatever thing showing of it. So they did instead of full previews, they did a little behind the scenes stuff. They had the Ice Nine Kills video. So it felt more like an event than just going to a movie, which was really cool.
It was fun.
And I'll agree with you. Like, it's not like our theater was just like quiet, which obviously you want a quiet theater when you go see a movie, but there were no assholes in the theater. It was just like everybody's there for the same thing. And if your emotions get the better of you, they get the better of you. And
it was quiet when it was supposed to be quiet. It was not quiet when it wasn't supposed to be quiet. Everyone was on point. Man, that was fun.
It was so much fun. And if you guys are new, usually in our shows, we do a spoiler-free review, and then we go into the spoiler-filled one. Not going to be much of a spoiler-free tonight, obviously. We're going to talk about all the ins and outs. I will just tell you my spoiler-free review and just if it's a recommendation or not. Obviously, I'm going to say go see it. I don't think there is a bad Scream movie. Now, with that said, we will get into our thoughts on it. Definitely had positives and negatives. So if you're a Scream fan, you will love it. I mean, you will enjoy it. You'll have fun. It's a fun ride. There's a lot of fun Easter eggs in there, and especially if you're a longtime fan of the franchise. But where it goes from here, I have no fucking clue. Chris, what were your spoiler-free thoughts?
I mean, you can't go wrong. Scream movies are Scream movies. They're a formula. You know what to expect. You know it's going to be a violent slasher. You know you're really not going to know who the killer is until the end. I mean, you're going to have 20 different guesses. I think you and I turned to each other probably at least 10 times before we got the reveal. And we're like, it's that person. Oh, it's this person. What if it's this person? And I mean, we got to a point where we're just calling out every single person that comes on the screen. So we're bound to hit it at some point. All that said, which we did. We absolutely did. All to say, you're still kind of surprised when the reveal comes, and the twist reveal with this one, which, you know, they've sort of done in the past, but they're alluding to it the entire movie, which I thought was kind of cool. But damn it, was it fun? I loved what they did with the scene at Parker's Tavern with all the kids, and I love how they built the story as, you know, it's 30 years later. Oh my God, 30 years later, and now it's Sydney's kid that's being stalked. And I love that Sydney married the chief of police, and that didn't even protect her from everything. So a lot of cool things to talk about. Negatives, even from a negative standpoint, I wouldn't say they're negative things about the film. They're just maybe things that didn't work so well. All that to say, as a whole,
there is not a bad Scream film. You will like some more than others. I will go into kind of where I feel like this falls for me personally. But it's there's some layers to this. It's going to be there's going to be some conversations here. So we will get into usually we walk through the plot and give our thoughts on it. But before that, just fucking shout out to the Wayans brothers. We got the Scary Movie 6 trailer.
It's coming. It is coming. The trailer was awesome. We're gonna do some half gay stuff. Wild and half gay. It looks great, you guys. It looks so funny. Get on YouTube, watch the trailer. Man, you already know that Ryan and I will be doing that as an aside as a horror movie because it still qualifies.
Absolutely.
But damn, it doesn't look great.
That
So
one
good.
is, yeah, and obviously, I mean, Scream 1 or Scary Movie 1 and Scary Movie 2 had the Wayans brothers. They had a very different feel. Like Scary Movie 3 is pretty solid too, but it didn't have the Wayans brothers attached to it. This one, I mean, they are back in full force. And the biggest thing we say about Scary Movie is that, well, it couldn't be made today. Absolutely could not be made today. I think this is going to toe that line. Like in the trailer, there's
two dildos.
Just watch the trailer, guys.
Just watch the trailer.
That's when we knew that this theater was in for it because everybody was excited about it. It was so
Everyone
much
was
fun.
laughing.
It was so much fun. But here we are, man. I mean, we are just so happy to be here. We're happy that you guys are joining us, and we hope you guys listen to the show going forward. But let's just get rolling into this where the plot starts. And obviously, if you are a Scream fan and you watch the trailers at length like we did, you probably could have guessed that the opening scene was going to be at... Now, they never say if it's actually Stumacher's house or if it is like a direct rebuild. I'm just going to go with it was exactly his house.
I'm going to say the same. I think it's whoever owns it at this point is just Airbnb-ing it out, and they're doing exactly what you would do, right? It's like it's a murder house. This is where someone was killed, and this is where this person was killed, and you can sleep here for a night. And I'm sure it probably costs $1,000 to do, but you know, capitalism, baby.
And all I could think about when this was going on, because it's a couple that goes there. The guy is super into it, and the girlfriend is just like, okay, I'll play along. And I know you had the same exact thoughts I did. As I'm like, if I went in that house, I would totally be this dude. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, the phone's ringing.
100%. This is where this person was killed. This is where Amber was fried. This is where they killed it. This is where Stumacher was killed with the freaking television. They have them all like chalk lined on the floor.
And they do a great job doing those Easter eggs for the hardcore fans, and
the nostalgia is heavy, and it works.
It does. They obviously have the motion sensor animatronic Ghostface that does a jump scare at the beginning. If you watch the trailer, you knew quite a bit about what was going on, but they go into they're just like, oh, you're going to do the full Stu Macher experience, and like the phone rings and there's a Timu Ghostface on the other line, like, and asking questions like, what age was Jason when he drowned? And so the dude is going through and he's like, okay, well, in this movie they said that he was this old, and then she was this old when he was born, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, that is totally the conversations that we would have here.
100%. He knows his history, he knows the trivia, he does it perfectly, and then his girlfriend chimes in with it. It's a trick question. He never drowned.
Exactly, and she is not into this at all. Like, which obviously. Then the phone rings, and it is okay. Before that, they go to the animatronic. It freaks the girlfriend out, so the boyfriend unplugs it. He's like, see, nothing's going on here. We're all good. Then the phone rings for real. He goes to the other room or something. The phone rings, and it is our boy Ghostface, the real voice, and he's doing his whole like, do you like scary movies? And of course she thinks it is her boyfriend on the other line messing with her, which is plausible because he is very
fully in.
He's kind of dumb, but he's a good character. He's a stand-in for basically every freak that's watching this movie. So she is, of course, blah blah blah, you're gonna die tonight. She hangs up.
I'll fucking kill you, bitch.
This part I thought was really cool because I forgot that he had unplugged the animatronic, because she goes into the room with the animatronic and does this, and it still moves with her. And you're like, okay. And then a Ghostface comes out from behind her, which they show in the trailer. Turns out it's her boyfriend. Pretty easy to tell. She socks the fucking shit out of him.
Clocks him.
She clocks him. Like, nose is probably broken, like he's just bloody. And then he looks and he goes, wait a minute, that just moved. And she goes, well, yeah, I mean, we did that, it moved. And he goes, no, we unplugged it, it moved. And I thought that was really cool. So then real Ghostface jumps out, and I will just tell you guys, I didn't see much about this movie prior. We try to do that intentionally here, but I did see a quote from Neve Campbell, and she said, Screams 5 and 6, they were done by Radio Silence, so they were really heavy on the gore, extremely heavy on the gore. And she said, that's not really what a Scream movie is, so we're probably going to just expect to be toned down on the gore. And Neve Campbell, you are a fucking liar.
This dude, Ghostface grabs him. He takes the knife, and the camera zooms almost like it is on Ryan and I right now. It's right here. And Ghostface just sticks the knife right in his temple. And that's not the end of it. He drives it in slowly, and the camera doesn't cut. He just slowly drives the knife in. And you see Jimmy Tatro, he's the actor. You see his eyeball just go like... and turn because you can see the knife behind it just pushing into his brain. I mean, what?
And on list of opening scenes for the franchise, I mean, I wouldn't say that this is one of the more epic ones because it's not as suspenseful as you would like, at least in my opinion. But yeah,
nothing beats the original opening screen.
Oh yeah, right? No. And even a few of the subsequent movies, you kind of get what's going on. But holy hell, that set the tone, because you're like, okay. And yeah, my live reaction was, man, Neve Campbell is full of shit. Or she didn't see the final cut or something. Because
you and I were both like this in the movie, in the chair. The whole theater was like, oh.
And then obviously the chase scene with the girlfriend that is played heavily in the trailer, and the cool shot where she is falling from the chandelier and Ghostface is on his stomach, turns over, turns the knife up. And I leaned to you and I was like, I really wish they hadn't shown that in the trailer, because that would have been a really cool kill. Obviously she gets stabbed in the stomach, and then Ghostface starts burning the house down, like live gasoline, like into her wound. And I'm like, damn, that must really hurt.
Lights the match. He does the whole 80s action movie thing. He goes, lights the match and just drops it on her while she's alive.
And walks away from the wreckage.
Burning house.
Mm-hmm. and that is your opening. And Scream nerds, you will appreciate this, but they use the same title card that they did in the original, with the same font, the same sound effect.
1996, Eat Your Heart Out.
Exactly. And there are a lot of references to 1996 in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which, again, you're like, that is 30 years ago. We feel really old. Which, and I hated it because, Courtney Cox, she looks pretty old in this.
She's starting to show.
Neve Campbell's doing all right. I think she's doing fine. But obviously,
God bless her, though. They both look great.
They do. I mean, they've been doing this for 30 goddamn years. I think Neve Campbell was 22 when she filmed Scream.
If that.
Maybe not even. Yeah. So, and they make lots of references here to New York and the Ghostface killings in New York and how Sydney was not there.
And the other thing, I don't know if you noticed when we'll get to this a little bit later, but when they're having the interview and they're talking about, Scream has always been meta, right? It's always about what's happening. It's always about taking jabs at the actual actors. They're talking about has-beens and fading careers. And then the camera just pans to Courtney Cox and she's just standing there. So I got it immediately. I was like, oh yeah, I got her.
Well, and they say things, they're just like, oh, it's good you weren't in New York because that was brutal. Which I thought was a little bit of a jab because I like that one a lot.
I do too. Scream 6 is great.
But they do mention it a crap ton.
They're poking fun at the fact that Neve Campbell was not there. She's like, Sydney is like, I thought my family was more important.
Yeah. So from here, it goes into her daughter's bedroom, Tatum, which I thought going into this movie was an odd choice to name her daughter because of what happened to Tatum Riley. Dewey's sister, Sydney's best friend, obviously one of the most infamous kills in the series, going through the kiddie door in the garage. And I'm just like, wow, that's I get paying tribute to your dead friend, but holy hell, that's a tribute.
You on the nose there, Sidney Prescott.
And they bring it up a lot, and that's what I love, is that they're just like, you named your daughter after your friend who was brutally fucking murdered 30 years ago, right? And she's like, yeah, I know. But this is where the first parallels really start, because obviously Tatum is in her room reading a book or some shit, and
it's almost a shot-for-shot remake of the boyfriend climbs in the window. He scares her, and he says the exact words that Billy Loomis says. He says, "It just occurred to me, I've never snuck in your window before. I was at home watching TV. I was like, I think I leaned over to you and I did that. I was like,
yep." And he was like, I was watching did he say I was watching the first stab?
The original stab. Yeah. He's like, watching the first stab, and it occurred to me, I've never snuck in your window before. Exactly. Billy Loomis is like, got me thinking about us.
Yeah. I was watching The Exorcist. Got us thinking about us. Be like, oh, so you'd think you'd come up here for a, extended cut or whatever. And so, yeah. And of course, like, they're playing on the fact, like, you can never trust the love interest. So, this guy, and I got to be honest, Chris, I don't fucking remember his name at all. Ben? Start with a B. Yeah. Our buddy Ben from Primate. He made an appearance here. He climbs through a window. I think he even has a stuffy, or maybe it's her stuffy, but like that's what Billy used too, was a little stuffed animal and
little stuffy buddy.
And of course, like they start making out, and then here comes Sydney through the door, and Ben falls over and hides it behind the bed, and then she's, Sydney knows exactly what the fuck's going on. She's like, why didn't she answer?
She did it 30 years ago. She's like, yeah. And I will say this too, and reference to obviously all of you parents out there who have teenage kids now and grew up with Scream. It's like, I think things are coming full circle for us, so we can almost look back and give our parents grace, because all the times we tried to lie to our parents and say, I don't know. It's like, exactly they know exactly what's going on. Sydney didn't even have to ask. She was like, how are you, Ben? What you doing back there, hiding down behind the bed?
He pops up, and he seems like an okay guy. I mean, much more so than Billy did, because Billy was creepy from the get.
Billy was a creep.
And he even says to Sydney, and obviously Sydney's trauma. She ain't about to let this happen. She does it classy enough. She doesn't just like kick him out. She walks him downstairs, and he even says, he's like, I'm really a good guy, Miss Prescott. And she goes, call me Miss, what was her last name in this movie? I just
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She takes
Sydney Evans.
She takes on a different name, which here's one of my first beefs with this movie. I've gone into things in the past where I do not like continuity issues. So in Scream 5, or was it 4? I think Scream 5, they call Sydney and she's out jogging with her girls, and she answers the phone and they're like, hey, you know, the killings have started again. I hope you, Mark, and the girls are safe. And everybody went, oh, that's Mark. That's Patrick Dempsey from Scream 3. And I think it was even confirmed by somebody that it was him. Well, they recast him for Mr. Community.
Mr. Joel McHale himself.
Yep. Which is fine. But I'm just
it worked. It worked.
But what's the point? Like, just why give the name Mark if you're not going to bring back the real Mark? But whatever. His name could have been Phil, and you just be like, hey, I hope you and your husband are safe, and then it leaves it open-ended. So that was just a minor annoyance here. But a big thing before this movie was they did not. People picked apart the continuity and the timelines and all this and all that, and they were saying that, you know, well, Sydney had 2 girls in that movie that we were seeing. Like, that's weird. Now she has a high schooler. What's up with this? They do this weird FaceTime with her mother-in-law who has the kids out in Denver, because they dropped the Denver Police Department. Apparently the whole police department of Denver was outside her house at some point this movie. So shout out DPD, I guess. Good job keeping the Prescott Evans younger kids safe. But so they go through a little bit of the family dynamic here. Obviously, Sydney wants to protect her daughter, does not. Obviously, her daughter knows about the movies, knows about her past,
but Sydney hasn't been very detailed as to like, here's who I am, here's my past. Because there's even a scene where Tatum is asking her, and she's like, "You can." If they made 5 movies about it, and there's a whole book, and you can do a deep dive anytime you want. But Sydney has never made that personal connection with her kid in that regard. She wants to hear it from Sydney.
Because Tatum even asked, she's just like, was Billy really like that? Did that really happen to you? And she's like, well, you saw the movie.
She just changed the subject. She's like, it's cold in here.
Like, so she's still very closed off in that sense. Not as much as you may think that she would be after all the trauma she's gone through. Because let's face it, Sidney Prescott's a badass. This movie leans into that. We will get into that. So I got to go back to Scary Movie 6. Sorry, because I just thought of this. At the very end of the trailer, they're making fun of Scream, the new crew, the Core 4, and they're like, you know, you can't have a Halloween without Jamie Lee, and they're like, well, you can't have a Scream without Nev Campbell, and Wayne's comes in and goes, that was Scream 6.
It was you can. It was Scream 6.
Yeah, so it's great to have her back. Obviously, she and her husband, Mark, not Mark, are very much in love. They they have a makeout sesh. They don't have any friction between them. I thought they
look like they have a good relationship.
Yeah, he is the chief of police in this small town that they live in. Sydney owns her own coffee shop, the Little Latte. Little Latte here, Little Latte there.
Little Latte there.
Yep. So you start getting some background into her life. She
moved on much as she can.
Yeah, she moved on. She has this friend, Jessica, whose son knows Tatum and is doing. He's
kind of an obsessive. He's like, he knows everything about the Woodsboro murders, and he knows everything about Sydney Prescott, or I should say Sydney Evans.
Think Richie Kirsch. Which is ironic because Richie Kirsch was Jack Quaid, which was The Boys, and this guy that plays, I think his name is Lucas in the movie. He is in Gen V. So, there's that Boys parallel there. But so obviously there's a lot of red herrings in this movie. It's a Scream movie for fuck's sake. You're going to have a bunch of whodunit. We did it 20 times in the theater. I'm like,
the whole movie. We're like,
because I thought I was going to come on this podcast and you were going to be like, he said it from the jump that it was this person. And because before the movie, I said McKenna Grace is going to
McKenna Grace is going to be, and she ended up
she's
dying
like the second
real
kill, yeah.
quick.
So getting into that, Tatum is in theater. She's in a play. Sydney talks to her about it a little bit, which obviously Sydney, it's kind of been a lower end of her character, but she has been a theater buff. She obviously was at Windsor College. She was in a play.
You remember Scream 2? That was kind of the whole backdrop
Mm-hmm.
behind it. She's doing theater.
And she was, the lead in that play. And then here we go. They go to, obviously you meet Tatum's friends. There's McKenna Grace. There's another one of her friends, her boyfriend, and the creepy kid. That's her group.
And can I jump in real quick? And I thought this was actually really refreshing, particularly for a horror film. They're kind of, and this might just be part of our culture now because it's not as accepted as it used to be. But none of her friends are like, you have the jock and you have the slut and you have the girl that gets it. Like they didn't do that at all. Like she has a regular group of friends.
Yeah, and even her boyfriend, her boyfriend looks like could be the jock type, but he even says like, I'm brains and brawn. And
yeah, he's like, I'm a computer science major.
They're like, that's a weird thing to say out loud. But we'll get to that. I keep jumping ahead. Fuck. So we meet her group of friends, and you're right, because they're 3 out of the 4 of them are in this, or I guess all 4 of them are in this theater production.
Just regular high schoolers being high schoolers.
Yep, and they are doing. Is it?
I almost felt like it was like a Peter Pan. I thought it was Peter Pan until because she was Tinkerbell or something.
Yeah, and so they're going to rehearsal. McKenna Grace is like Tinkerbell. She has this harness that they can't fucking get it right at all. And then this, mainly because this dog, a person in a dog suit, fucks up their spot, and does all this. Turns out that's Tatum. So her mom was this great actress in this college production.
Tatum's
lead
the
role.
dog suit.
Yep, and she's in the dog suit, and the drama teacher is fucking douchebag city.
Aperol spritz.
Yeah, he's like, you are fucking Sidney Prescott's daughter. Show some of that fire, and you're like, holy crap, that's
Like, damn, this guy's a
pretty fucked
jerk.
up to tell a high schooler.
Don't say that.
So like, she gets pretty upset about that. She goes back to the back room, starts making out with her boyfriend again. And you can tell she's kind of timid. She does not have that killer instinct, literally, that Sidney Prescott has. And she desperately wants to be like her mother, even though she does not know everything about her mother.
She only knows the legend. She wants to know the mother in her. Who is my mom? She only knows what's been said, right? Nothing from Sydney. Sydney's never told her herself. No. And so they start making out, and this is the first actual Scream-esque sequence. And so Sydney, they cut back and forth between the theater and Sydney. Sydney is doing she's writing in the books, doing inventory.
At her coffee shop. She gets a call from Woodsboro. It's like, okay, we know what this is, and of course it's like, hello Sydney. And she, if you've seen the other recent movies, she's sick of this song and dance. She plays along. She's like, oh, hey, yeah, who are you? And they're like, well, I'm not hiding this time. And then a FaceTime comes up, and she's like, what? And then lo and behold, it's my boy,
Stumacher himself, Matthew Lillard,
with a fucked up face.
Boy, it looks rough. Scars on scars on scars. The kind of scars that would happen if someone dropped a heavy CRT TV on your head, perhaps.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, I think so. So obviously it's like, is it really him? Is it not? But she's in shock. Imagine, she hasn't seen, she killed this guy 30 years ago.
She dropped a TV on his head.
Yeah,
a
and then
CRT TV.
He pops up on a FaceTime. And obviously Matthew Lillard, it's impossible to recreate the unhinged aspect of Stu from 30 years ago. I feel like he does an okay job. He really tries. But he says, he's like, oh, I know your daughter, I'm gonna attack her. I'm at the school right now, and shows
I'm outside her school right now.
I feel a little woozy here. That TV really made me
Really, mother.
So then obviously Sydney calls her chief of police husband. She's like, we need to get to the school. The Stu Macher's alive. He's going to get her. And, her husband's probably like, oh, okay. So McKenna Grace is staying after drama practice because she wants to get this harness right with a guy. I think his name is Aaron.
And
they
just practice because he's in control. He's practicing the thing. He's practicing taking off, landing, all those pieces for her. Because the drama teacher, the douchebag drama teacher, he's like, you guys need to practice. So staying after trying to get this done, and this poor kid, you get a sense of exactly what's going to happen because this poor kid's trying to work with the thing, and she's like, do it again, and then all of a sudden you hear a noise, and this poor kid looks over. And then the camera cuts back to McKenna Grace in the strap, and he walks away from the controller, so she's just dangling there. And then you hear, off screen, you hear, you're like, oh, well, we know what that means. And then you hear McKenna Grace be like, hello, and then the lights come down. The lights are completely dark in the theater, and then the spotlight hits poor McKenna Grace. She's still up in this thing, and at this point, she's just getting kind of scared. She's like, what's going on? And you know exactly what's going to happen. Ghostface grabs the control for this harness and just starts flinging her around back and forth. He finally swings her to the left, and she's able to grab onto one of the prop walls. So she's hanging on to that, and she's calling back. She's like, Aaron, what is going on? And then she looks back, and sure enough, Ghostface is just walking out, staring right at her. And she lets go of the wall. The wall falls down, and she's just swinging like a pendulum in front of Ghostface. And he just kind of watches her back and forth a little bit, and then he just starts slicing her as she comes through. It looks so painful. He hits her on the arm. Blood goes everywhere. He hits her on the leg where the femoral artery is, and blood is just dripping everywhere. And she's completely helpless. She's just swinging back and forth. And then finally, Ghostface decides he's had enough, and we go back to what Nev Campbell said, in that, we're going to tone back the gore. They don't tone back the gore. Poor McKenna Grace is swinging back towards Ghostface, screaming, I don't want to die. And he just holds his knife up like this, and it guts her right down the middle, eviscerates her, and all of her guts fall out as she's swinging, just fall out and hit the floor. And then she stops, and then the swinging stops, and she's just stuck there dead in the spotlight, with all of her intestines and insides just fall out right on the stage. And as a little bit of a twist, right as this happens and Ghostface is looking at her, enters Sydney Prescott. She made it. She's at the top of the stage, and she stares down at him, and Ghostface looks up at her, and they lock eyes, and you think, oh, it's on. And Sydney just goes, you motherfucker. She pulls out a gun and just pop, 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 starts shooting at it. It's a Beretta. She's not going to make that shot. It's probably 60, 70 feet away. Shoots at him, misses. He runs to the back. She runs after him. All the police, the police chief husband enters at this point, and she looks at him. She's like, he's in the back. And true to form, there's no suspension of disbelief here because all the people in this film, cops, bystanders, they all act as you think they should. So you don't have to do that suspension of disbelief where it's like, the cops wouldn't do that, or why don't you just do X? Like, they do all the things. They cover the exits. She chases into the back, but as she's chasing Ghostface to the back, out comes Tatum, and they bump into each other. And Ryan leaned over to me at this point, and he was like, what if it's Tatum? And I was like,
Well, before that, so McKenna Grace, she gets, and we knew exactly where this was going when the knife went up, and he just lets gravity do the work. And it was at that point I leaned over to you, and I go, you know what? It might not be McKenna Grace.
we were watching the music video, the Eyesight Kills video with her before, and Ryan was like, she could be a Ghostface killer.
I was like, she's totally going to be the Ghostface.
And
so I'm dumb. We also missed, they did a trivia question before, and they're like, who was the first?
The trick question.
The first kill, which I'm going to dispute. They're like the first kill on screen in the Scream franchise. So obviously they had Casey Becker and they had her boyfriend Steve. And I said it's her boyfriend Steve. And then the answer was Casey Becker. And I'm like, I dispute that because while you did not see the cut, you saw the aftermath. He was killed on camera before Casey Becker. So
you could make the argument that you saw his corpse on screen.
Right. Yeah. And you heard the and he was supposed to die on screen, but it would have been NC-17. So fuck you, pre-show. I got that one right. But anyway, neither here nor there. I was wrong. That was my first wrong guess was McKenna Grace, but we both had a long list of wrong guesses here.
I mean, pretty much everyone that popped up on the dance screen were like, I could see this, but I could see that. We guessed it was Randy Meek's niece and nephew for a minute there. But like, it could totally be them. They're trying to make their own news story.
Mm-hmm. So from here, obviously, this is where the Denver police thing comes in because they're like, oh, we need to make sure the kids are okay out in Denver. And then, the husband goes, yeah, no, the whole Denver police department is at their house. So I would just love to see like 200 cop cars outside
One cut. Woo, woo, woo.
like one little old folks, little ranch house. Just like crimes running amok in Denver because there's no cops.
Just put the camera pans right down Spear Boulevard, and you just see the one house. Like, oh.
Yeah, the criminals.
We're all here.
Are like jackpot. Thank you, Ghostface. So obviously the whole police department in the small town basically follows Sydney back home.
Clears the house.
Yep.
As you think they should. They're like, the whole police force enters the house. Like, we're going to clear the house. It's like, makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Or do they?
Or do they?
So,
because where's the one place you wouldn't think to clear?
Well, and when they're clearing the house, and obviously they're like, okay, Sydney, Tatum, you guys got to pack up. You guys got to go. So Sydney's frantic. She's like, hey, where's your to-go bag? Because clearly she has been prepping her. And Tatum goes, well, I unpacked that a long time ago. There was no point. And she's like, damn it, Tatum, you need that. And
that's exactly what this is for.
Mm-hmm. And so that's when Tatum's really like, oh shit, this is really happening. I should say there was this weird point at the coffee shop before she gets the call from Stu. And she just makes this coffee for this guy named Carl, and they do this weird zoom in on the name Carl. So you're like, okay, that's going to come back at some point. So the cops leave, house is clear. They're getting their stuff. They're ready to go. Ghostface comes out from the ceiling from the, I guess it was probably the attic, huh?
Yeah.
So comes out from the attic and pops down. They've shown this part in the preview. Gets a knife to Tatum's throat. And, Joel McHale has a gun pointed at him, and Sydney's like, no, put the gun down. Like, he like the knife is like almost digging into her throat. Like he is ready to just slice and dice. So then Tatum is able to hit him. They're able to do this chase sequence. And lo and behold, friggin' Sydney, of course she does. She has a panic room.
Has to have a panic room at this point.
Yep. And even Tatum's like, what? This is in the house? And she's like, yeah. So, she locks it. They also showed this part in the preview where they are going through the wall to try and get.
They're leaving the panic room to try to get to Carl downstairs, because Ghostface had, during this fight sequence, Carl can hold his own. Like, it was a good fight. Ghostface just happened to get the upper hand, and he knocked him down the stairs. So he flew down the stairs, hits his head, knocks him out.
You mean Mark?
Mark. Did I say Carl? Excuse me. That's going to come back to us. Mark. And that's why they leave the panic room. So you're like, why are you leaving, just staying there? It's like, Mark's unconscious at the bottom of the stairs. They don't want Ghostface to kill him. So like, we got to leave this room, get down to him. And the way out is actually out the back of the panic room and in between. I don't even know if they make houses like this anymore. Between the exterior wall of the house and the interior paneling. I guess they're houses that are 100 years old, right? Because we've used drywall since World War II. But there's a space about like that you could just shimmy through, and that's where Tatum and Sydney are shimmying through. But unfortunately, as most of our heroines in films do, they're extremely loud. They do this.
What the fuck are you doing?
Shut the fuck up! And of course, Ghostface hears them.
Mm-hmm. And you've seen this part in the preview. He stabs through the wall. What you did not see in the preview, though, is he gets a good chunk of Sydney.
He gets the fire poker and just
and Sydney is smart as fuck here, because he's stabbing the knife through, and he stabs the knife through like one of the median areas, and she is able to bend the knife so that he cannot get it out of the wall. And you're like, fuck, man. Sydney,
she has a baseball bat. She's just so he can't get it back out.
It's like, Sydney is so badass. Fuck, I love her. So you're like, sweet, they're good. Nope. Ghostface is like, oh, convenient. There's a full basket of fireplace pokers here. And he digs that in, and it fucking slices it. Really. Mm-hmm. And they get out of there. You
can imagine how much that's gotta hurt too, because those are not fire pokers are not sharp. They're dull. They're dull, rounded instruments you use to pull your log back, and it hit her hard enough in the arm to just hit right in the meat. God, that had hurt.
Mm-hmm. And again, I mean, like, even that, like, obviously it wasn't super gory, but it also wasn't like tame. So they get out there. They're able to get Mark up. Ghostface is chasing them outside. The struggle goes into the street, and then if you want to take from here, because this is
absolutely, this is pretty cool. So So Mark, Ghostface, he can tell that he hit one of them, but he can also hear them starting to get away on the other side of the wall. So he leaves and he ditches, and he's going to go. You get the impression, yeah, he's going to go kill Mark. So he starts walking out, and then he looks down the stairs, and Mark is gone. His body's not there. So Sydney and Tatum, the next scene is them kind of getting out of the house, and Ghostface is sort of running down the stairs on the outside to catch him, and as soon as he gets down the stairs, here comes Mark behind him, and he jumps from the doorway down to the lawn behind Ghostface and completely tackles him. So you're like, oh, this is really going to go the distance here. So Mark grabs Ghostface, he tackles him. They're kind of fighting. Sydney and Tatum kind of come around the house, and obviously Mark has got him in a grapple, and they're fist fighting. And like I said, Mark can hold his own. The fight's going okay. Sydney runs over to help, but again, Ghostface just kind of gets the upper hand on Mark and clocks him. Sydney hits him with this wooden panel, knocks him down, and Mark again grabs him and picks him up, and they start tumbling down the lawn. Tumble over. Mark ends up on bottom, and Ghostface is on top, just clocking him. And then he stands up and gets off and turns to face Sydney. And I can't remember if she like hits him or she's like approaching him just to hurt him more, but he takes 3 steps back and he steps into the road. And sure enough, here comes a huge SUV, just bam! Clocks the shit, kills Ghostface.
Runs
here.
over his head, essentially.
Runs over his head. He rolls into the road 3 times. There's no chance anyone, there's always that feeling, and particularly in Scream movies, like the killer's like superhuman. He can take a lot of damage. He just gets up and keeps going. There was no chance that he was getting up on this one. I mean, 0 chance. You knew as soon as he gets hit, he is dead. And sure enough, SUV pulls over, the door opens, and who walks out but our very own beloved Gale Weathers, Courtney Cox herself, pops out of the SUV. She gives no shit. She knows exactly what's going on. She's like, "Yeah, we're not playing easy this time."
No, and she has a new crew with her, a new / old crew with her. What pops out is her, because she's obviously there to run the story of these murders that just came up, and her new cameraman and assistant are none other than Mindy and Chad.
Randy Meek's niece and nephew.
Yep. 2 pieces of the core 4, and each movie I see these guys in, I like them more and more. I wasn't like too keen on them in Scream 5. I thought, it's like, okay, this low hanging fruit. Scream 6, at least for Chad, for sure. I still don't know how he survived that movie, because he was stabbed like 47 times.
Yeah, he really got gored.
Yeah, but he's back. They have so much chemistry together. You could really believe that they are, in the Meeks family tree. They know these horror movies. They're, Mindy says something. She's like, "I came here so I can finally unmask the killer." And Chad goes, "Well, she's wrong a lot." And I was like, "Fuck, that's what we're doing right now. We're wrong."
That's exactly what's happening to us.
So there's a little reunion there. Sydney shows Gale the video of Stu, because she recorded it when he called, and she's like, they keep saying, they're like, "No, if he's alive, that's the dumbest thing ever." And they're like, "But he could be, I don't know." And so that's
the meta thing. It's the meta piece. They're playing on the whole thing. It's like, if Stu Macher's really alive, the dumbest
Kevin Williamson is fucking with me this entire movie. This entire movie is fucking with me. He is talking shit directly to my face.
That's exactly. I looked to you. I looked over to you during that scene, because I was like, they're talking about you, right?
Yeah. They're like, "It's a popular internet theory." Ha ha ha.
It'd be stupid if he was.
Yeah, they're like, "But a
body was taken to the morgue and buried."
Yeah. So there's all these little hints that Stu might be alive, or maybe he's not, or maybe it's just.
Well, then of course the video is like, oh.
Well, and they're like, "Okay, this is clearly AI. It's a deep fake." They're like, "I don't know, man. It looks pretty real." They end up finding out that the killer that was chasing them in the house.
Yeah, they go unmask him, of course.
Yep, and of course he is Mr. Coffee Man Gary. And this is like probably 30 minutes into the movie this happens. Yep. So it's like, Coffee obviously, which we were right about this. We're like, yeah, okay, that's Carl. Like this is too easy. That's Carl. They find out that he was an escaped mental patient from whatever Forest Pine,
Fallbrook.
whatever
Fallbrook.
There you go, Fallbrook. Insane asylum. So Sydney's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go there. Gail's gonna go there too. We're gonna we're going to poke around over there and see what this guy was all about. Apparently he had killed 3 people in the past.
Dangerous guy.
Yep. Very violent guy. Which obviously if he was the one that was killing, because we'll get into it more, but they never like, you don't really know which one's killing who really.
Yeah.
At least I couldn't, but, fuck.
I know who did one because you'd have to have great physical strength to do it. So,
right. So they go to the insane asylum, and they meet this orderly, and they're like, "Can you tell us about this guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, police were around here the whole time. They were doing a sweep and asking." And so they're like, "Could you tell us some more?" And he's like, "Well, you're Gale Weathers." And she's like, "Yeah." And he basically just like folds, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll take you to the room."
Yeah, I'll take you through.
And so he takes him to the room, and there's a bunch of, creepy drawings. Clearly this guy was a little obsessed, very violent. And so they show him the phone, and it's the picture of Stu, and they're like, "And have you ever seen this guy?" He goes, "Oh yeah, that's John." And at this point I was like, and they're like, "Yeah, he's been here, John Doe," because he didn't remember his name because he said he had an injury, TV fell on him, and he has no recollection of what happened. He's been a drifter.
Yeah, he had a serious brain injury. Whatever it was, it's what gave him all those scars on his face.
Mm-hmm. And of course, they go to the room. It's empty, and they're like, "Why is it empty?" It's like, "Oh, because he was released 2 weeks ago." And at this point, I was like, "Okay, that's too easy. Like, come on, that wasn't really Stu." And at that point, I think we were both like, maybe the orderly's in on this. I don't know. We'll see. That'd be weird, but we'll see what's up with that. So then they're like, "Well, how do we get him to call back?" And this part I thought was really fun, and I think it's a really good fan service for fans of the full franchise. But Gale goes, "Well, what do we do?" And Sydney goes, "I give you what you have wanted for 30 years, which is that exclusive sit-down interview where
Gale's like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah, Gale's been punched in the face a couple times over it because obviously their relationship is very complicated because and even when they first meet this movie, I'm like, what happened between movies? Are you going to punch her or are you going to hug her? And she gets a hug. But they even say, she's like, "I'm sorry, I wasn't in New York." And that's when Gale's like, "Don't be, it was brutal." So they do mention the New York killings a lot. Which I don't know how much of it is Kevin Williamson poking fun at the fact that he wasn't involved in that. And but again, we're both on record. We like Scream 5 and 6. I love the characters that came out of it. But they say, "Okay, so we'll go on live TV. We'll do this interview. When he calls, we'll track it. The cliche.
We'll trace the call. We'll know. We'll find out what he wants. What does he want?"
Yep. And they cut back to not Woodsboro, but whatever little town they're in. And this is
Pine Grove.
Yep, Pine Grove. And you said before the movie, you said, "If they don't play Red Right Hand, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit." And they put in a curfew in town, and then boom, there goes Red Right Hand.
Home comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with his red right hand.
And
they did it.
Yep, and it's basically because they're
shutting the town down. They're shutting the town down. There's a curfew. Everyone go home.
They play that in Scream when they're announcing a curfew. So it's like the town is dead. It is a ghost town now. Everybody's staying inside. They're terrified of this killer, and that song's going. Tatum now, because she's at home by herself with her dad and the Meeks. You got Mindy and Chad, and so she starts kind of probing them, like, what's my mom really like? Like, how do you guys know so much about these killers? And so they have this, and they're like, well, it's going to be someone in your friend group, because obviously it always is. So they're like, we need to vet these guys. So they end up devising a plan to sneak out to this tavern that I think one of their friends' dads own or something. They're going to sneak out. You can
tell because the girl with the hair clearly works there.
Yeah. So they're gonna sneak out after curfew. They're going to get all the friends there, and they are going to do a deep dive into who is the killer. So Sydney and Gale get all set up for their interview. I thought this part was a little weird because it gets a little contentious in this interview. Obviously,
Gale doesn't pull any punches. It's almost as if they're not friends.
Exactly. where they're having this, and she even jokes earlier. She's like, "I'm not gonna go easy on you. I've been waiting 30 years for this shit. I'm not doing that." And obviously, it starts off with a, like, who do you think's behind this? And she's like, "Well, Stu Macher. I saw his picture pop up, this and that." And Gail looks at the camera and goes, "Well, call unless you're a little bitch."
It's like, are you mad that you're a little bitch and you were never the main character, always a sidekick?
Mm-hmm. And still no call. So the interview keeps going, and Gail brings up Tatum, and Sydney goes right off the bat. She's like, "I don't want to talk about my kids." And Gail will not stop. She's like, "Do you worry about them? Do you think your other kids are safe?" And she goes, "I told you not to talk about them."
Do you think they'll inherit your trauma, or that you're passing your trauma down to them?
Yeah, like being a complete, like, total back, revamp back to Gail and Scream 1.
A real see you next Tuesday.
Yep. Rhymes with bunt. So yeah, they have this contention. I don't know if it's because I think it happens after they have an argument, and Sydney goes, "I named my daughter Tatum because that was the last friend I ever trusted, was Tatum." And Gail, like, is hurt by that. She's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Gail, you went behind her back to try and free Cotton Weary. Now, granted, you were right on that. You made a book about her mother's death, probed into it, all that. You said some weird shit about Sydney. You've said bad stuff about Dewey. You said bad stuff about Sam. Like, that's just your MO. You say bad stuff.
You had those bangs in Scream 3. Who let you wear it? Who let you wear your hair that way?
I actually saw something that it was David Arquette that said she should wear her hair like that. And
that'd be the ultimate nostalgia.
Maybe that's why they got divorced. I don't know. But yeah, so they have this which I've always loved their dynamic, because it's not just like this happy-go-lucky. There is some.
They're kind of frenemies.
Totally. They're like us, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they do this interview. There's no call. And meanwhile, it's flashing back and forth to the tavern and what's going on there. And maybe you can speak on the tavern.
I love that. Okay, so essentially what they're trying to do is they're like, one of Tatum's ideas, or not Tatum's ideas, excuse me, one of the Meeks' ideas is they were talking about how they're going to get the killer together. As you guys know, though you Scream diehards out there, Randy Meeks, one of the most important things he did in the franchise was he listed the rules. Here are the rules for scary movies, for horror films. This is how it goes. Rule number 1, rule number 2. The Meeks have sort of inherited that, and they're at the tavern with all the people. They're like, "We need to get all of your friends and everyone together in one spot, because we know that if we do that, one of them is going to be the killer." So they're in there. They're all at the tavern. They're kind of having a back and forth where the Meeks are going down the rules of here's what works, here's what doesn't work. But it's pretty great because one of them puts a stop to it pretty quickly, and they're like, "Your rules are bullshit. None of that applies anymore." So again, it's Scream really leaning into that meta thing where it's like it's a serious slasher movie and it's a serious slasher franchise, but it's not afraid to poke fun at itself. And I will say, I think that's kind of one of the things that makes Scream kind of unique at this point. It's hard to get a series of 7 films that are still good. And Scream does it, and I think that's part of it, is because they're not afraid to poke fun at themselves. They're not afraid to lean into the camp when they need to appropriately, and they can still drive true horror with it. Right. So they're at the tavern, and it's all of them. It's Sydney's. Obviously, McKenna Grace is already dead, but it's one of her other friends who's helping with wardrobe in the play. It's her boyfriend Ben is there. It's of course the 2 Meeks. It's the weird kid next door who who was introduced earlier with his mom. They're Sydney's neighbors. He's kind of the one that's obsessed with Sidney Prescott and the legend of Sidney Prescott. So he's there, and sure enough, they're kind of chatting through, and then Tatum's there, of course. Tatum, they turn on the TV, they realize, oh, my mom's going live. I should watch this interview. And Tatum sees that back and forth between Gail and Sydney, and it kind of affects her, and that, they're talking about her as her child, and that kind of hurts her. So her and Ben decide, we've got to get to the studio. I got to get over there. I need to talk to my mom immediately. They head out to Ben's car. Ben's like, "I'll drive you." And they head out to Ben's car. He goes out with his laptop, and he throws his laptop in when he puts Tatum in. and it doesn't shut all the way. You can still see the screen in there. iMovie's on. And Tatum grabs it. She's like, what is this? And she opens it. And you see on one side, you see Ben with a green screen, and he's emoting like this. And on the other side, you see the deep fake of Stu Macher, who's making the exact same deep fake. So putting the two together, she presses space bar to play it, and she sees Ben doing the exact thing that Stu Macher's doing. So he's deep faking himself with Stu Macher.
Talking about how he's going to kill.
Talking about how he's going to kill him. Yep. So Ben opens the door and she stares at him and she's like, I saw your laptop. And he's like, what do you mean? She grabs it and just clocks him twice in the face with it. Breaks his nose, probably breaks his nose, hits him in the forehead, blood's gushing. She does knock him out and then she runs out. She jumps out and she leaves. She starts running away. Meanwhile, back in the tavern, old Ghostface himself has magically appeared and is not taking kindly to Tatum's friends inside the tavern. And this was kind of a kill fest here, because you have the one friend who's back in the kitchen trying to make some pizza, and sure enough, here comes Ghostface. He attacks her. She kind of quasi gets away, but she's struggling with him. He knocks her over and knocks all the silverware out, and she sees a knife. She grabs the knife. And at one moment, Ghostface is behind her about to stab her, and she grabs the knife and reaches up behind her and stabs him. And it's not Ghostface. It is poor Chad. She stabs him right in the shoulder, right there.
He's been stabbed like 94 times in these movies.
Dude's been stabbed so much. It's got to not even hurt him at this point. He's just like, come on, man, what the hell?
He's like, I don't know if I want to follow them because I really don't want to get stabbed tonight.
He's like, I don't want to get stabbed. So she accidentally stabs him. And she's trying to help when she realizes what she's done. And as she's trying to help him, Ghostface grabs Chad, rips the knife out of his shoulder, throws him on the ground, turns around and slashes it, hits what's her name? Chad? Mindy. Slashes Mindy's stomach, slashes her. So she's incapacitated. And then again, he starts attacking the other girl. She runs out. She runs out of the kitchen and she runs into the friend, the weird guy. And she's like, he's in there, Ghostface is in there. And the weird guy kind of looks in. And he's like, I got this. Don't worry, I got this. And he picks up a pizza. It's, they use the pizza to put them in the brick ovens. You have a pizza holder handle that you could use to put them in the brick ovens. He picks one up and he's like, don't worry, I got this. And he backs into the kitchen. And then 4 or 5 seconds later, he comes back out and he's holding his stomach. And he's been stabbed multiple times in the stomach. And he just collapses on the floor.
Well, it was at this point where...
you start to think it might be him, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't, follow him into the kitchen, and then he comes out, and the
camera just stops at the door.
And they don't show his wound. They just show that he's holding red, which obviously...
You might think it's like ketchup, just like Mom puts on her spaghetti.
Yeah. God damn it.
There it is. There's scary movie reference.
There we go. Even though we already did one, but whatever. I'm always good for that. Yeah, bye, Big Jim, Little Jim, Slim Jim. But... bye, Yao Ding. But he
bye, Mom, Dad, Phil, Little Jim, Slim, everybody.
Ciao, Ding.
Okay.
But that's where we kind of looked at each other. We're like, it's totally him and his mom. We're like, it's him and Jessica. Totally. Because that just seems too fake and that seems staged. So then the fight keeps going. The girl that was making the pizza, she is actually she's fucking taken on the bar like out of the movie Airplane. Yeah. Slammed through a bunch of glasses.
Way down.
And you think she's going to get back up, and then you see that a glass shard is and blood splurting out. You're like, oh shit, okay. And then
about this, because this is so awesome.
I want you to talk about this
because I started laughing. Okay,
I thought you were going to go into an uncontrollable laughing fit because
I almost went.
It was like 2 minutes after it happened. You're still like, oh fuck.
I was dastardly dog. I was doing the whole. Because I was laughing so hard. So the poor guy, our poor buddy who got stabbed in the stomach, who we're not exactly sure if he was really attacked or not. Ghostface grabs this poor bastard, drags him behind the bar, because at this point we're thinking, oh, maybe it's his mom, the neighbor. Ghostface drags this poor bastard behind the bar, picks him up by his head, and one of the beer taps is a really, really pointy apparatus. Ghostface grabs him, pulls him up, lifts him up, and impales his head on the beer tap. And the weight of his body pulls the tap down, and out of his mouth comes all the beer streaming while his corpse is just hanging there. I started laughing like out of breath laughing, and the other people in the theater were laughing because it's so gross. We were all cringing because it's so brutal. Me and Ryan were like, and then the beer comes out, so we went like this. We went, and that's when I just started losing my breath laughing. The theater behind us, one of the guys up in the top row was like, damn.
Yeah, like the beer starts flowing out, like almost like comically fast, and then it starts getting mixed with his blood, and then we look at it, we're just like, well, it might not be him. It might not be him. Yeah.
Might not be him, or it might not be his mom either.
Yeah, because that's pretty fucked up. So, yeah, all I want is I want that beer tap. I want the prosthetic of his head.
Of his head.
So yeah, the friend group has been fucking decimated by now. Meanwhile, there was a chase scene back at the house that we didn't really touch on, but Ghostface Ghostface attacks Mark at the house and stabs him a bunch. He is presumably dead. So neither here nor there. Sorry, Mark, but so Tatum runs out. She wants to get to her mom's coffee shop, and at this point, Sydney kind of knows what's going on because she gets another call from Ghostface. They're not on the air, and they're like, "Hey,
well, it's Stu." It's like, "Hey, Sydney."
Stu again." Yeah, he's like, "Well, I'm at the tavern," and they're like, "She's not at the tavern." He goes, "Oh, I guess we'll find out." And so then that prompts Sydney, which this was weird too because Gail's like clearly following after her, and she like can't get into her car. She doesn't have her keys. And so she doesn't wait. She just literally starts running like fucking Forrest Gump down the street. And so she starts running and she tries to talk to Tatum. Can't get a hold of her. Tatum's basically going to her mom's coffee shop. She's getting chased by Ghostface.
Down the street.
Yep. And this is where Ben comes in and tries to save her. And at this point, I'm like, now I get it because Ghostface attacked them earlier, but
Ghostface was right there, and then she turns the corner, and then there's Ben. So you're like,
Well, and it's like they still have not explained. He says there's an explanation for the deep fake on his computer. They never fucking explain it. That drives me fucking insane. But neither here nor there.
I think there was a throwaway line before she clocked him in the face with his laptop. He said, "I was just seeing if I could do it." I think he said that.
Yeah. So maybe, but okay. Anyway, he gets killed by Ghostface. So not the love interest this time for realties.
So it's not the love interest, no.
No,
he gets stabbed about 7 times in his chest.
Yeah, like the ghost faces in this movie are pretty brutal. The stabbings, the impaling, like fucking beer tap.
That will never not be funny. That will never not be funny.
That's gonna go down as an all-timer. There's a couple all-timers in this movie. That's one.
By the way, when this movie comes out and the scenes are released, you're gonna have to edit that into the intro song.
Yes. God damn it. I don't know if the YouTube will allow me to, but I gotta try and find like maybe just when the beer's coming out and it's
just when the beer's coming out, just
and he's just so I can't wait to see the behind the scenes on that. That'd be funny. But so fuck, where was I? So Tatum ends up
Ben's dead. Tatum's getting into the coffee shop.
Yep. Tatum, and you also saw this part in the trailer where she's hiding out in the coffee shop, and Sydney, because she's fucking running to this place instead of waiting for a ride. So she's in the middle of the street because it's the only place she has service, and she's able to talk to Tatum, and she's looking on her security cameras, and she's like, okay, go in the office. I have a gun there. Ghostface has the code to the door, which I found strange. It's like, wow, is someone really close to her? Has the code to the door and can't get into the office. So Sydney, obviously you've seen the preview. She's like, okay, shoot him now through the door. Clocks him 2 or 3 times in the chest. And of course it's a Scream movie. You have to double tap in the head. And it's funny because you were bringing up
the rules.
At least
I was bringing
times you brought up
when Nev Campbell's running and she stops to check on her phone. I'm like, rule 1, cardio.
Yeah.
And then when after Tatum shoots Ghostface a few times in the chest and then pops out, I'm like, rule 2, double tap. Get out there and take care of it. And even Sydney's like, you gotta shoot him in the head. Shoot him in the head.
That was Dewey's downfall. Is that he
Didn't shoot
always
him in the
forgot to
head.
shoot him in the head, and it became comical, but it did lead to his death. Which I still don't believe Amber did it, but whatever. It's canon, I guess she did. But so Ghostface attacks her. She's trying to get out. Boom! There's a second Ghostface because of course there is.
Because he stands up after she shot him, and then she's having a tussle. She hits him with a chair. She slams him with a chair. I mean, hits him hard. He goes flying and breaks through a table. So he's kind of like, ugh. He's a little stunned, and she stands up and starts backing out. And then behind her, you see another ghost face running up behind her. I turned to you. I was like, what the fuck?
Like, I was so excited for this. Because then they call Sydney, and you kind of know where this is going. They're like, "Hey, we have your daughter. We're not going to do anything to her, but until you're there to watch it, you know." So she goes to her own house because they say it's where the heart is.
Where the heart is. And so I stick a knife through it.
Mm-hmm. And she goes in the house, and they somehow have control of all of her video devices. And she walks in, and of course, it's Stu on the TV, and he's just like, you know, "I always had a thing for you, Sid, and you know, we're gonna do this the old way." And it's Stu in his own house, like, you know, clearly it's AI driven. So every room that Sydney goes into, there is a new old killer in an AI deepfake. So
and guess who's in the kitchen? Billy Worm's mother.
And she's just like, you know, "I can't wait to
Remember
see
me?
I can't wait to see you lose your daughter the way I lost my son." And it's great to see all these old characters back. I hate that it was deep fake, but there was really no way around it.
I was waiting for Mickey, but there's no Mickey.
No Mickey Altieri.
But
there was Roman Bridger, director. He directed
Scott Foley himself.
Yep. And I will say, Scott Foley and Billy's mother, they're looking old, man. They're looking pretty old.
It's been 30 years.
I know. But so they're able to do that. And Scott Foley says something. He's just like, "Watch this movie we're going to make." And
we're
and
family.
And then the real killer, no pun intended, is she
goes out back, right?
The next screen that she sees is Mr. Dewey Riley. And he, you know, obviously it's a deep fake trying to taunt her and like, you let my sister die, right? And her name was Tatum, and you named your daughter Tatum. And so now you're going to see it happen again. And I'm going to be completely honest here, because this is where we get to the reveal of Ghostface. And I'm just going to be blunt here. This is where it all fucking falls apart for me. Every other Scream movie, there's killer reveals that, whether you like them or like some better than others, they all had redeeming factors. They all had a plausible motivation. They all had something connected here. This one honestly felt like lazy fucking writing, which
didn't hit the way I wanted it to.
No,
because the Ghostface killers just don't have the motivation in this one. It's not personal. It's not that at all.
And the kills are so personal in this movie. So
yeah.
And the parallels between Scream 5 and Scream 1 are pretty solid. Scream 6 and Scream 2, they're in a different setting. They're in college. It's a family aspect. So I was like, Scream 3, it's going to be somebody from her past, like that she had a history with. So Tatum's tied up like Steve was in the original. And they bring out Mark, the dad and husband, and somehow he's still fucking alive. I don't know.
He's bled a lot. Well, I think about, you know, in Pulp Fiction, what's his name? Mr. Blonde is shot in the stomach. Mm-hmm. And he's Mr. Pink, I think, is like, "Hey man, I know it hurts and you're gonna bleed like a son of a bitch, but you're not gonna die." I'm thinking that's gotta be like he just got stabbed multiple times in the stomach, and he's bleeding like a stuck pig, and he's pale from blood loss, but yeah, he's not dead.
So then obviously the one Ghostface is there, takes off the mask. It is the orderly from the insane asylum. Yep. So obviously there was no Stu, there was no John Doe. He took what did I say his name was? Gary? Carl with a K. The worst kind of Carl. But he I zoned out at this moment because I was so pissed off. I was like, okay, really, we're doing this. But I still had hope. I was like, the second Ghostface, this has got to be somebody.
And he does call him Stu. He's like, right, Stu?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you already
right.
know when it opens and Ghostface the second Ghostface walks behind him and doesn't take their mask off right away. You're like, it's not Stu.
It's not Stu, but I'm like, could it be one of Stu's family members? Could it be, somebody,
One of the friends that was at the party from Scream 1.
Right. Like it could be anybody. It could be one of, like I even said, it could be Chad or Mindy. Like maybe they are taking revenge on, because Sydney was a reason that Randy died. And,
There was still a piece of me that was like, maybe it's Jenna Ortega.
I know oh God, it would have been so. This movie really suffered in the third act from not having Sam and Tara.
The last two, because they're big parts of the last two films. I mean, granted, obviously, Sydney and Gail are huge in Scream 5. They do end up still being the heroines, but yeah, I mean, not having Sam or Tara, like it feels like it's jarring. It's very jarring.
Yeah, they passed the torch, and that's where it was like, I was afraid this movie was going to be like the third act, the entire movie, but the first two acts, I'm having so much fun. And there's even parts after this reveal that are really fun and we'll get to, but, so second Ghostface, Stu takes off the mask and it is Jessica, her neighbor, whose son is now, on tap at the bar. So you're like, okay, so she's psycho because she had her son killed, and obviously, like you alluded to, like she probably wasn't the one that killed her son. But
physical strength.
She had no problem with killing him, and
she even says she's like he was too much like his father. I was like,
and she doesn't. They don't ever go into it. They're like, oh yeah, his father was an abusive asshole, and so she goes into her motivation and how she was obsessed with Sydney. She read her book. And how Sydney was the badass. Sydney always took care of business, always took care of the bad guys. And obviously, I'm sure her husband was maybe a piece of shit, if he beat the hell out of her, whatever. So she killed her husband, got away with it. And I'm like, okay, who was her husband? Was he connected somehow to all this? No, fucking nobody. At least
you don't even know who he is.
No. And then she's pissed because Sydney disappeared. So then she hatched this plan, and it was her idea to bring Stu back. And
the orderly reveals that before he was an orderly, he was a Google security advisor, so he's really good with computers. Again, It's kind of a Deus Ex Machina.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a really easy plot device. It's just like, oh, they inserted it to make it make sense. Got it.
Really fucking stupid. I would go on record of saying you could almost have literally any other character in this movie. Like they would have some sort of motivation, and it would have been 10 times this reveal was.
The drama teacher.
Yeah, because they show him randomly creeping at a crime scene, and then you don't see him again. Like even that would have been better because he clearly knows about Sidney Prescott. I just don't know what Kevin Williamson was thinking here. I thought there may be like a post-credit, mid-credits thing that kind of redeemed it at the end. Nothing, there's not. But anyway, we'll keep moving on here. And they say they're not going to kill Tatum. They're going to make Tatum the new final girl, essentially. But Tatum has to watch her mother die, watch Sydney die, because...
And one other thing, too, is obviously Sydney has brought the gun from the coffee shop. And there's a really cool scene before the reveal where it shows her laying it down, but you can see she has another Glock in her back pocket because she kind of, as she lays the gun down, the camera's behind her, and it prominently shows that she has another gun tucked in her back.
Because she ain't stupid.
She's not stupid, yeah.
She's not stupid. Especially, don't mess with her daughter.
Yeah, don't mess with a kid.
So, basically, they go through their whole killer monologue, this and that. And at this point, I'm just like, I don't fucking care. Like, I know you guys are going to eat it. And that's one beef I had with this movie, too, is in all the other ones, you legit had a fear for Sydney. You thought she might not make it out of this. I never had that thought here. I'm like, she's going to fuck this guy.
She's got a gun in her back. What are they going to do? Charge her with a knife? She'll put them both down.
Well, and I was like, if this is the character that takes her out, that is the dumbest decision you could ever make. If she's going to go out, it's got to be something epic. But
her own daughter's got to be the killer and kill her. You know
something
what I mean?
like that. Yeah, something memorable. These two will go down.
Or Gail has to kill her.
Like if we put these two in our Ghostface gauntlet, I think Jason Carter.
They're not even
takes them out. Yeah, and that's just because I hate it. Maybe I'll give it.
You'll think more about it. Yeah, you'll think more about it.
I still am gonna say this.
But to your point, like You're not. Neither of the characters revealed as the killers, or you have any investment in. By the way, the orderly before this is in one single scene. One single scene. He maybe has 3 lines of dialogue. The friend's mom, Jessica, she maybe has 3 lines of dialogue. Like they're just not in any prominent way tied to Sidney Prescott.
Yeah, and again, I thought the writing was great up until this point.
I will say this too, and I was thinking about this on the way home. So when they burned down Stu Macher's house, that's out in Woodsboro, California, and I noticed that on Carl's badge, they're in Pine Grove, Illinois. So did one of them drive out to California and hang out in the?
That's another thing. Like, who the fuck did that? Like,
Yeah, who did that?
That
Scream 7, Scream 8. Excuse me.
That had no point in the movie. It was just literally to do fan service at the beginning, which was great. I loved it, but like it doesn't pay off at all. This reveal,
it's not tied. Like, what are they doing there?
No,
what are they doing at Stu Macher's house?
Yeah, you thought, because Scream always kind of tells you what's going on. Like even the Jason Carvey reveal, it's like, who the hell is this guy? And then they still
tell you why it makes sense. Like, here's what it was doing
later in. Yeah, like, fuck, man, it's just so goddamn stupid. I'm so pissed off about it. I was in love with this movie. I was having so much fun. And then anyway, so Mark, obviously he's coming to. They're able to basically
he cuts Tatum's leg free.
Yeah, and basically gives her the nod. Gun gets, she breaks free. Sydney pops 3 bullets in this guy's head. He's gone.
Pop, pop, done.
So total, even after the monologue, I think he had maybe 2 minutes of screen time. Not a lot. Technically in this movie you get the 3 ghost faces, because you get Carl, you get these 2. They met at the Pine Grove or the Fallbrook, yeah. And
she talked about her obsession with Sidney Prescott, and that's where the orderly came in, and that's why he decided he wanted to be obsessed with her too. Like it just doesn't. It's too janky.
Very janky. It makes no sense. Like they could have gone in any other direction. They could have had the friend that worked at the pizza place that barely says anything be the killer and have something behind it. Like I do not understand it unless it's part of this bigger plan. I have no idea. And I understand, like, there was, obviously you had to do rewrites because you fired the actress that was Sam, and then Jenna Ortega left. It's like, retrospect, they would have done so much for this plot, and I would love to see what that original script was. But at the same time, I don't know. Clearly, time was put into this script because it's really fun.
The throwbacks are there, the nostalgia's there. Mm-hmm. But I guess we got to finish though. So
yeah, we got to finish.
So Carl, who's coming to, he's obviously all messed up, but Mark, excuse me, I keep saying Carl. You see him, he takes a pocket knife out of his pocket, and he kind of gets Sydney's attention and shows he's opening this knife, and he's just laying there, and they're obviously paying attention to Sydney, so he's able to just really slowly worm his hand over, and he cuts the duct tape that's holding Tatum's leg, and right as the killers are finishing their monologue and they're going to kill Sydney, Tatum knocks one of them in the head and drops down. Sydney pulls the Glock, kills the orderly right in the head. Boom, boom, he's done. And then the Jessica, she escapes into the garage. And they're making an addition to the house. The garage is under construction. There's a lot of plastics hanging up, and there's not scaffolding, but there's tools. And you can imagine just a dark garage with tools and scaffolding and stuff in there. Anyway, she goes in there to chase her down. She tells Tatum to stay with her father, help him. She runs in there with the gun. She has it. Obviously, she runs into Jessica. They have it out. Now, Sydney, she gets a hold of a screwdriver, one of the tools, stabs Jessica in the quad with it, and they're still kind of going at it like this. Jessica starts choking her with like an extension cord, but she's able to stab her in the leg and kind of gets her momentum back. And then she pulls the screwdriver out, and they're grappling. Yeah, they're grappling, and Sydney reaches her free hand up to grab the screwdriver and just shanks Jessica about 5 or 6 times with a screwdriver that's this long, mind you, right in the center mass, right here. Just
well, and before, I think it was before this, because Jessica is still, because she's so upset with Sydney and that how she's a shell of herself, and says, like, you're past your prime, you're not final girl material.
Yeah, you're not final girl material. We're gonna make a new final girl.
This is how I would dare say this is as brutal as Sydney has ever been. She's, lots of stab. It was very Sam-esque when she was stabbing.
Yeah.
So then, she gets attacked by Jessica, and then boom, here comes Tatum, shoots Jessica, which Tatum had reservations before, even shooting in the coffee shop. She's
it's hard. It'd be hard to, as a 17-year-old girl, it'd be hard to pick up a gun that you've never shot before and just kill someone.
She's like, I'm not you, and not for nothing, but the Isabel May, she was in 1883, or I think it was for
on
Netflix. It was the Yellowstone.
Oh, the Yellowstone, yeah, good call.
And so I always call, because they call her in that, they're like lightning with the yellow hair. She was lightning with the yellow hair in this one. She pops her. Her and Sydney have a moment, and this see, I liked it though. So
the aftermath I loved, but the fact that Tatum pops in, shoots Jessica off Sydney, Jessica goes flying back against the garage door. So after being shanked in the stomach and shot, Sydney and Tatum are having a moment, and they look up and Jessica's gone. I'm like, how strong is somebody after getting shot? Come on.
Well, and I thought it was poetic when she shot her, because she is her back is to the garage door, and I looked at you and I'm like, oh, please say there's a doggy door, and she gets Tatum.
They're gonna Tatum her. They're gonna Tatum.
But Tatum, presumably kills her on the garage door. Look up, she's gone. You're like, we lost connection there for a second, but
yeah, we're good. We're back. Uh-oh. Don't worry, guys. We'll get back here.
As much as I hated the as much as I hated the reveal,
sorry guys, bear with us. A little bit of technical difficulties. That's okay. It'll come back.
Oh
no. It's okay. I'm happy to keep talking.
Jessica comes back in. I'm not going to say it redeemed it, but it definitely.
So I'm going to keep going. I'm sure Ryan will pop back in, but I don't know how much that you heard. We kind of had it freezing up there for a second, but I'm still live here. For me, this part was the aftermath of what happened was kind of cool. But, like I said, just Tatum pops in, shoots Jessica off. She slams up against the garage door. We think she's going to get Tatumed from Scream, but she doesn't. She pops up. They look up. She's gone, and they're having their moment. And then she comes out of nowhere with the screwdriver raised up. It just as a last, the last ditch effort of a killer. Their last scrap of energy. She raves up like this and starts screaming at him. And Sydney and Tatum both take their guns, because Sydney's able to recover her Glock that got knocked out of her hand. And they just turn and they just empty their clips right in Jessica's face. I mean, it is brutal. It is visceral. It's two empty clips. One's a 9mm Beretta, one's a Glock. They just empty it right into her face. And the camera watches this poor woman's face just completely shred and collapse and fall apart. And I mean, that it's over at this point, right? So she's finally officially dead. They're kind of talking to her. They're kind of talking to each other again, because they've kind of collected themselves. And Sydney looks over at Tatum. She's like, "Are you okay?" And Tatum says, "Of course I am. I'm Sydney Prescott's fucking daughter." So kind of, it's a whole full circle moment at that point. So you gotta love that. The camera pans down so you can see Jessica's corpse there, and her face is just. You can imagine what it's like if someone empties two clips right into someone's face. So, she's dead. Carl's okay. The next scene is them calling the ambulance and getting everybody there. Hold on a second. Ryan's texting me. He's trying to get back in here. I'm going to tell him I'm still going to. I'm still live and finishing the explanation. All right. I wonder if I can invite him in.
I'm here.
There he is. Yo, I was just telling our audience. I wonder if I can just invite you in.
Hi guys. I don't know what the fuck just happened there. Apparently, my computer hates the ending as much as I do. But okay. So
I was telling him that
part I actually fucking liked.
I know, and I did semi-spoil it. I did say that obviously they were having their moment, and then Jessica appears out of nowhere in her last ditch of movie killer energy, like she's gonna hit him with a screwdriver, and Tatum and Sydney both pull their guns and empty their clips right into her face, and her face just shreds.
It is, and they show everything. If you thought
all of it,
the shooting, the ending scene of Inglourious Bastards, where they're shooting Hitler's face,
it's just like
this looks way more realistic than that. Like pieces of her face are falling off, and her face is caved in. It's like that's going to go down as an all-timer in this franchise.
100%.
I'm like, you gave that awesome death to that fucking stupid character. Like, and then
I wonder if they'll recognize the corpse. We need you to come down and identify this body. No. Does she have any identifying marks anywhere else? Because you're not going to know about the face.
Talk about a makeover.
Mm-hmm.
But so then, like, obviously it's the aftermath, and actually they use the same song that they did at the end of Scream for that aftermath, which I always love that song where it's like, I'll leave the singing to Chris. I suck, but man. So then, of course, it's like the happy ending, this and that. And
Gail comes back. Yeah.
Gail comes back and actually lets Mindy, who we kind of glossed over it, but Mindy has been trying to steal the spotlight from Gail and become a reporter. And Gail actually literally passes the torch to her, passes her the microphone, and lets her do.
She's like, I need you to do it live.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
And that's where it ends.
Well, she tells Gail, Sydney's like, Gail,
yeah.
Tatum's not the last person I trust. I trust you.
Uh-huh.
So they have their moment of reconciliation. And then Gail says, do you want me to drive you to the hospital? Sydney and Tatum have their final moment where Sydney actually sits down and she's like, I named you Tatum because Tatum was my best friend. And she tells her about Tatum, which she's never done. So Tatum was my best friend. She was unafraid. She said it was on all these things. And that's what I've wanted for you your whole life. So it's that beautiful mother-daughter thing. And then, Gail drives to the hospital. She didn't mention that she died in a garage door accident.
Yeah, that Tatum Riley made one of the dumbest decisions in horror movie history. Well, and like I thought it was funny when Gail's like, "Yeah, let's go to the hospital." It's like those hospitals, like they got to have a punch card. Like, next visit's free because at the end of the movie, you guys are going to the hospital.
So I will say this. So fun fact, this was in 2022. I met Rose McGowan because she came to the Denver Fan Con. Nev Campbell was there too, but I didn't get a chance to meet her. But I met Rose McGowan, and I will say it kind of makes sense that she tried to get out of that kitty door because she's about this big. She is a tiny, tiny girl. Tiny.
Yeah, she didn't.
She's like 5'3", if that.
Well, she didn't take into account the bust in that movie, though.
True.
Yeah. So
but yeah, I mean that's the end of the film. The camera pans out and roll credits.
That's it. Yep, and get the fuck up and not say anything. We're like, oh, we gotta see if there's post-credit. There's mid-credit, so I held out a little bit of hope that maybe Matthew Lillard was still coming. It was just Mindy doing outtakes, and it was really dumb.
Didn't have anything to add.
I left the theater. I just felt so disappointed, and I know I built it up in my head, and I knew that this was a possibility. I never in a million years thought that the killer reveal would be that fucking stupid.
That bad for you, huh?
So dumb. I hated it. I don't.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
No. Now, if it's part of a grander plan, then fine. But it's gonna turn a lot of people off. I think not only there's already. fans
it
that
just
weren't going to go
feels
see this movie because of the. Go ahead.
it just feels like it couldn't stick the landing because the first two acts you're having so much fun. It is fantastic. The kills are cool. Things are moving along at a perfect pace, and then it just doesn't feel like it stuck the landing.
No, it didn't even attempt the landing. It it got to the landing and it was like, you know what?
The plane crashed.
I'm gonna get disqualified here. Yeah, I'm not gonna stick it. No. Yeah, I'm very perplexed by it, and maybe I'll wake up and feel a little differently. But at least part of the reveal part, no, it just that's the fun of the Scream movies is that you want to know why these people are doing it and what didn't you know about their character that leads into this. And every single other Ghostface has something about it. Even Jason Carvey wanted to continue Richie's legacy. That was his whole motivation. He wanted to continue what Richie was doing. You go back, Scream 6, obviously it's a family revenge thing. Scream 5, they want to reboot the franchise because they're super fans. Scream 4, Jill Roberts wants to be Sidney Prescott. Scream 3, it's Sidney's brother. Scream 2, it's Billy's mother and Mickey Altieri. Yeah, wants to blame the movies. And obviously Scream 1, we know Billy and Stu. These guys on their best day don't hold a candle to them. I don't get it. I really don't. I'm really disappointed in that. I'm going to try to look back on this movie on the really fun parts though, because it was
there's enough good to outweigh the bad.
I mean,
in my opinion,
there is a lot good to the point where, like I said at the beginning of this episode, that I want you guys to go see it because I think you will have a damn good time. Just have realistic expectations. I was fine with Stu not being alive, even though I've said prior that it would be awesome if he came back. It was cool seeing Matthew Lillard again, seeing the other Ghost Faces come back, and obviously David Arquette, even if it was in AI form. But like, I don't feel like it did enough to build up the Tatum Sidney. Like, they did enough to do that, but the killer reveal did not add to it.
Yeah, it took. Yeah. It didn't stick the landing. It's the best way I could say. It didn't feel like a resolution. It didn't make sense.
And then you go back to the questions that are unanswered. Like I had the one with the laptop, which you kind of answered, and I guess that would kind of make sense. But why the fuck would you do that if you already
feels like a throwaway thing? Yeah, it's like, why are you? Yeah. If you know it's not you, why are you pretending, or why are you trying to see if you can?
And your girlfriend's mom is super suspicious of you. So that was dumb. The whole opening scene, who the fuck did it? Why? And that would have been cool if that was another Ghostface, but they said on the phone, they're like, I took a trip to Woodsboro and I left it scorching or something stupid like that. And it's just like, okay. And the whole tagline is, we'll burn it all down. And it's like, is that what you're fucking trying to do with this reveal? Because fuck. But overall, guys, I still will say this is not a bad Scream movie. It is a bad Scream ending. I hated it. However, we got a comment here from Justin. Movie was terrible. They disrespected the fans with Stu, the Stu BS, and paid the price. 40% Rotten Tomatoes. Fair. I did see that.
Fair.
Yeah, and you're right. Scream 8, at least the ending, for sure has to be better. I will dispute. I thought, like we said, I thought the first two acts, we had a lot of fun with it. Act 3, I will agree with you, was absolutely terrible. But then you have the cave-in gun death. That's like, all right, like at least that was cool, but still not going to make me forget, the you just put me through for 10 minutes. But I expected more from Kevin Williamson for sure. Given his pedigree and his history with the franchise and how much he meant to it. So, hopefully there's a grander plan here, but as of right now, as it stands, fuck, it was rough, the ending. But I've been talking a lot about what are your true thoughts on the ending?
I mean, I expected more. I wanted more. I love the franchise. I love what they do with it. I was confused by the choices of killers and how they how they ended this thing. I mean, there was so much more they could have done, and there was so, I mean, tie the killers back to Sydney's childhood, tie them back to having something to do with the Woodsboro murders, to having something to do with the New York murders. I don't know. Have it be someone who's pissed off that Sydney wasn't in New York. I don't know, but it just needs to be someone that's close to her. Like these two people that was like, they have nothing to do with the Sidney Prescott. Like, it's why Star Wars the sequel trilogy failed and crashed and burned so hard. It's because like you forget what makes this important. It's about Luke Skywalker. It's about the Jedi, and in this one, it's about Sydney, and it's about how her life and these things, and these extra people who have jumped in you don't care about them. It's like you guys had 3 lines earlier, and now you're revealed to be the killers who've been offing everybody. Doesn't do it for me. First 2 acts, fantastic,
and offing them in
really liked it.
Yeah. Offing them in extremely personal ways. Yeah. Like the gutting of McKenna Grace, the fucking beer tap kill. Like, these are personal kills.
Yeah.
And then it turns out to be like, it's like, you did that to your own fucking son. Okay, cool. Awesome.
And then you threw away the line of why you were okay with it.
Yeah, it's so fucking dumb. And Justin, I'll agree with you there too, that Wes Craven, I don't think it does him any justice for this one. I think he probably would have been disappointed with how this one ended as well. Whereas like, Scream, it's Scream, was it 5? Yeah, where they do the toast to Wes.
Yes. Yep. He had just passed before that, I think.
The character Wes is killed, and they do the party, and they're just like, yeah,
to Wes.
And they're like, to Wes. And it's like, they had this cool tribute for
Uh-oh.
And I love, yes, to us. And I love what radio. Again, I don't know. I would have loved to have seen. But yeah, I feel like we're pretty much on the same page.
Sorry, guys, bear with us. A little bit of technical difficulties. Ryan got booted earlier tonight. I think that's probably what's happening here, but he'll be back in just a minute. I mean, to say it, yeah, I mean, if Stu were alive, I think that would have added a little bit more to it. I mean, honestly, anything's better than the killers that they did reveal. Just, yeah, it didn't make any sense. I don't like when someone's building up the tension, or something, or a movie is building up tension like this, and they're building up. Oh, yeah. Perfect point there, Justin. The script for 3 was supposed to be Stu being alive and was cut because it was dark at the time because of Call Me. You're absolutely right. I remember when that came out. There's an issue. They had the script written and they had the idea for the story, and then like at the 11th hour, Columbine happened, and they're like, "Yeah, we need to change this thing because there's just too much. The parallels are too much, and it's not going to hit like it should." So, yeah, you're 100% correct. Welcome back, Ryan.
Hi. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, my internet apparently sucks, but thanks, Chris, for carrying this. Yeah, and Justin, appreciate all your comments, man. We come here to vent. We come here to, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Thank you, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole Kidman. But yeah, guys, that is Scream 7. A lot of hype. Loved it. And obviously I'm just popping in. But yeah, I remember the script for 3 was supposed to be Stu coming back. So would have loved it if he was actually coming back. And I thought it would have been a really cool reveal at the very end of the movie after all this bullshit happened. If it's like, maybe he turns on a news report and sees it and he's just like, And that's all it had to be. That's all it had to be. It's like, hey, you leave the door open. Thanks, guys, for sticking it out with us. Chris, do you have anything to add before we hop the fuck out of here?
No final thoughts. Still recommend people go see it. If anything, support your theater, support the franchise. See it so you can vent about it like we have. Enjoy those first 2 acts and just be prepared that know that Act 3 won't stick the landing. At least,
and the kills are all timers. Loved them. But make sure you click that QR code for our later. Justin, thanks, man. For our show, you can get it wherever you find your podcast at Roasted Snow Horror Show.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you for the subscription.
Man. You're the best, man. Guys, we appreciate all of you. We are new. We are growing. Make sure you click that QR code. It'll take you to our page where you can see all of our old episodes, where you can listen to us. We're on pretty much every platform, so just search Roasted Snow Horror Show. We might be taking this week off because we did a weird timeline here with the Scream 7, but we'll be back with our specialty episodes on Wednesdays, and then our new releases on Fridays, where we kind of go over anything and everything. So thank you guys so much.
Another strong month.
Oh yeah. Oh, it looks good. I can't wait. We're really excited about it, but thank you guys so much. Hey, hopefully Scream keeps kicking. We'll see. All right. Later, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.